Assalamualaikum to my madam and fellow classmate. My name is Aimi Aina Aimina binti Muhammad Shuaimi from class KBA 2734B. Today, I will be present about learning from failure, how organization can adapt and evolve. Organizational development views failure as an opportunity for innovation, change, and ongoing improvement, despite the fact the failure in organization is frequently seen as negatively. Organizations often experience challenges that put their established processes and capacity to the test. Despite their early obstructive effects, these failures offer important change for creativity and change. Next, let's move to the issue regarding failure. The first issue is complacency. Complacency occurs when organizations become comfortable with their past success and stop innovating or taking strategic risks. It begins at the individual level and can spread throughout the company, creating inertia and resistance to change. Over time, this damages organizational culture and leads to the declining performance. The second issue is ineffective leadership. Ineffective leadership undermines organizational performance by disrupting culture, strategy, and employee engagement, highlighting the critical role of transformational leadership and alignment of key factors in organizational development by Berkeley Twin Model for sustaining long-term success. Okay, let's move to the example. Okay, the first example is Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola's 1985 New Coke launch is a classic example of organizational failure turned into a learning opportunity. Rather than allowing the setback to define the company, Coca-Cola applied systematic analysis and market research to understand the cause of the failure. By restoring the original formula as Coca-Cola Classic, the company not only regained customer trust, but also demonstrated adaptability, responsiveness, and strategic learning. From an organizational development perspective, this illustrates how organizations can use feedback, reflection, and data-driven interventions to enhance decision-making, foster a culture of continuous improvement, and support innovation while minimizing the impact of mistakes. The second example is Amazon's. Amazon's culture of experimentation shows how organizations can turn failures into learning opportunities too. Despite the Fire Phone failure, Amazon applied lessons learned to develop successful innovations like the Echo Smart Speaker. From an organization development perspective, this reflects the value of data-driven decision-making, feedback, and a learning-oriented culture that promotes adaptability, risk-taking, and continuous improvement. Now, let's move to the processes for organizational learning from failure. The first one is to identifying failure. Proactive and timely identification of failures is a critical first step in learning from them. Small failures often serve as an early warning sign for larger problems, but they are frequently ignored due to psychological barriers, denial, or organizational suppression. Social system and organizational barriers, such as inaccessible data, can prevent failures from being recognized and addressed. To overcome this challenge, leaders must develop systems, processes, and a culture that make failures visible and provide the data needed for the learning and continuous improvement. The second one is analyzing failure. Organizations can only learn from failures if they are openly discussed and carefully analyzed. Effective analysis identifies root cause and lesson. However, social and psychological barriers such as negative emotion, denial, bias, and preference for quick action often prevent true analysis. Overcoming these barriers requires openness, inquiry, and personal accountability, enabling individuals and organizations to learn from both large and small failures. Last but not least, the third one is deliberate experimentation. Certain organizations deliberately embrace failure as an essential component of learning and innovation. By experimenting with new ideas in a controlled environment, they enhance the likelihood of generating creative solutions and improving products, services, and processes. Despite societal and cultural tendencies to stigmatize failure, organizations that embed experimentation into their system cultivate a learning-focused culture, promote calculated risk-taking, and ultimately drive higher innovation, productivity, and long-term success. Now, let's move to the processes for organizational learning from failure. Learning from failure has both positive and negative impact at the different levels of an organization. On the positive side, at the individual level, it helps employees improve their knowledge, accumulate experience, enhance self-behavior, and increase their chance of success in future. At the team level, it improves decision-making quality and boosts overall team performance. At the organization level, learning for failure enhance innovation, adaptability, and the crisis response increase the likelihood of future success and reduce risk and accidents. However, there are also potential negative effects. Experiencing failure can cause emotional trauma, reduce motivation for future attempts, or if our learning is done incorrectly, it will lead to the repeated mistakes. Overall, while learning for failure can be extremely valuable, it needs to be managed carefully to maximize the positive outcomes and minimize the negative impacts. In conclusion, failure should be seen as a strategic learning opportunity that encourages ongoing innovation and improvement from the standpoint of organizational development. Organization may turn failure into a full of change by fostering a culture that fosters experimentation, reflective learning, and data-driven insights. Organization can improve performance, increase adaptability, and maintain a long-term success in a market that is continuously changing by implementing this organization development driven strategy.